with, how you guys came to fall in love.
Oh, goodness. I met Angie as a small child when I was 7 or 8 years old, when I went to visit her parents in Virginia. And we stayed for a few days, and I immediately clicked with Angie, hung out with her the entire time, played games, made little rings together. We're inseparable to the point where I even told her mother, stopped her in the hallway and said, I'm going to marry Angie. And she said, no, you can't, but you could be friends. And, well, I, of course, had the last laugh, but I would say that it started very young. I've always felt a very special connection with Angie, and no one has ever made me feel the way that she does, or ever could. So.
We've always loved each other.
And was it the same for you, Angie? You knew from when you were young?
I didn't know that I was going to end up marrying Michael, but I knew I liked him. I knew that there was something about him that was easy to get along with and felt familiar and felt safe.
That's a start. That's a good start.
That is a very good start. And like you said, you had the last laugh. You guys are now married. Mm-hmm. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And you've been campaigning for a while now to get married in Utah, correct?
That's correct.
Yes. It hasn't turned out as we had hoped, but we did meet with the senator, mm-hmm. and he made a few suggestions. Whether or not that's going to happen or not, who knows? It'd be nice if it does. Mm-hmm. But we've done some things in that direction to try to push the law in our favor.
And so why is it so important to you guys to be married in Utah? I know people might say to you like, oh, just move, just leave the state. Why Utah?
Well, it's not so easy to move, is it? It's easy from the outside in going, why don't you just move? Just pack up all your belongings and get a bunch of boxes from Walmart and then pack everything up in it and spend hours and hours and hours. It's not that easy. And I have a job there. She has we both have family ties there. The father of her children from her previous marriage lived there. And so to just uproot and like the Beverly Hillbillies or something is not as easy as it sounds. Mm-hmm. Now, there's anything wrong with the Beverly Hillbillies, but.
And Angie, I was watching one of your YouTube videos that you shared recently saying, eventually one day you might like to move out of state.
Absolutely.
Any idea of where you'd want to go?
We both like California. Michael spent a lot of time in Texas, and I wouldn't mind trying Texas out. Right now, I've just been in Utah for half my life now, and that's longer than I've lived in any other place, and I'm dying to get out. But because of my children and their dad and visitation and all that, we have to stay in Utah for the time being.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
When people say, like they're kind of repulsed by this, do you understand that, or what is your response to them?
I can understand. I can understand a lot of things. I can understand why they would do that, depending on their upbringing, depending on what they were taught culturally, depending on what they were taught by their family, depending on a lot of different factors. I could see why someone would be repulsed by any behavior. If I were just to put myself in their shoes for 2 seconds, I can go, okay, I can see why they would be repulsed. But then again, you haven't walked a mile in my shoes. So.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Angie? Do you have the same kind of view?
Yeah, I would say that, it depends, like Michael said, on your background and your upbringing and how close you are with your cousins growing up. For some, they grow up with their cousins their whole lives, and so cousins are more like siblings. And in that case, the incest taboo does develop naturally, intrinsically. But when you don't grow up seeing each other a lot and you reconnect as adults, then a romance is much more likely to occur.
And you are now on WeTV's Extreme Love.
That's right.
That is true.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's right.
What made you guys decide to go on a reality TV program?
Well, I think they pitched the idea to us, and the way that they pitched it, it sounded very reasonable. It sounded fun. It sounded like a good opportunity to get ourselves out there and present a very hopefully tasteful story about cousins being married and show people that we're regular people just like everyone else. And we've also brought in a lot of other political elements and stuff that kind of backs what we're doing, and so we're not as freaky as people would think that we would be. So I think that it was a lot of fun. And when they pitched the idea, we kind of talked about it and said, yeah, this would be a good idea to get ourselves out there and our message across to people and hopefully change some minds.
For me, I think awareness is the first step in social change. And what I love about the media is the ability to communicate broadly. So we have the chance to be seen, be heard, and be understood.
And so on that note, I wanted to ask you, you guys have been doing a lot of media. Is there some misconception that you really want to clear up, or something that you are absolutely done with telling people?
I would say it's more common than a lot of people think. If you look it up, it's probably legal where you live.
Yeah. Most of the hateful comments we've gotten from people, it turns out it's legal where they live. And historically, throughout the generations, with the royal families, that's something in the news, it's pretty common. There's only 3 countries in the world where it's illegal, and some of the states in the United States where it's legal. Every other country, in some countries, they even prefer it as a way to keep bloodlines close, keep the family ties close, keep the money where the money is, and you don't have to meet your in-laws. You already know who they are.
Right.
That's right. That's the one thing. When you marry into a family, the in-laws, right? You got to get to know them. You're always kind of on the outside. And here, we know each other's parents. We've grown up with them. And so we're already loved and accepted.
And so if they were maybe a little resistant when you were younger, what are their feelings now?
My parents are on board with it now. Initially, my mother had some shock and was really surprised. I think more so about how it would reflect upon her parenting. My dad, not so much. He said, okay. I couldn't, knowing who Angie is and what she looks like and her personality, says I couldn't be talked out of it either. Her family, I'll let you explain that.
Well, I want to say Michael's stepfather saw it coming
okay.
for years, since we were teenagers. And he was the first person Michael told. And he was like, I knew it.
He goes, I already knew that. I already knew that.
He observed us and our chemistry since we were teenagers. My parents are totally on board. They're excited to be grandparents. So it's great to have that support.
That's very exciting.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
And we see on the TV show that some of your family members might not be so on board. I think you spoke with one of your cousins.
Yes, one of our cousins.
But that was before the baby news happened.
That's
Correct.
true.
How have things changed since then?
They, as far as I know, they have not changed. She has essentially written us off out of her life and has disowned us and doesn't want to have anything to do with us. That's fine. I don't know why she was so upset in the first place. It didn't really have anything to do with her to begin with. So we'll just respect her wishes and not speak to her. That's all you can do.
That really is all you can do. So who in your lives would you say, maybe your stepfather, has been the most supportive of your relationship?
I would say of my family members, initially my stepfather, now my dad, my actual father.
That's great.
And my mom. And we have a community of supporters off of our Facebook page who have been purchasing gifts from our baby registries and sending them to us. So we keep getting packages in the mail, and it's extremely touching that someone who you've never met would give of their means to a stranger because they support us. It's extremely touching.
Definitely. And so now I know the first episode is coming out on Friday.
Yeah.
How are you guys feeling in the lead up to that?
I can't wait to see it.
I think it'll be interesting. As long as we're accurately portrayed, and from what I gather we are, then I'll be excited to watch, and it should turn out. It'll be entertaining to say the least. I know that much. It'll be a good piece of entertainment. So tune in.
So let's see what else. So you have been having people reach out to you through your baby registry. Have you noticed other people in a similar situation as you guys coming forward since the promos for
Yes.
WeTV has come out?
Yes, countless cousin couples have contacted us privately, and children of cousin couples, and they've all had successful family stories to share with us. A lot of similarities where they've been rejected by certain family members, where they thank us for being
Yeah.
public for them. They support us, and it's very encouraging to read how they all have healthy children, gifted children, and that we have support around the world from other people like us.
We've got a lot of people reaching out. Some people are scared. Some people are scared to tell their family, and they look for advice. And so we do what we can do while still, staying within our scope and not not overextending ourselves or saying something we shouldn't say, but offering compassion and understanding at the very least.
So seems like the internet has brought some good things to you guys, which is great from the internet.
Sometimes
It can be
Yeah.
a tricky place.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you guys deal with like the online trolls or the people who leave hateful comments? How do you?
I stopped paying attention to it a long time ago because everybody's got a mouth. Everybody has something to say. Nowadays, everything that happens is a political event. Someone has a comment about something. Oh, I didn't like the way the Queen did this, or I didn't like the way she wore this dress, or I didn't like how he scratched his nose. Everyone has a comment about everything, and it's only getting worse. And you just have to pick and choose your battles and say, does that pertain to me? No, then move on.
And for me, the people that have hateful things to say, I don't take it personally because they don't know me personally. They just want to get their 2 cents in, and then they move on to the next bit of gossip.
Well, my last question for you is, when are you due?
Okay, we're due May 22nd.
May 22nd, tentatively. We could change, but
Could
it's
He
May
measures
22nd.
big, but he's on track for May 22nd, but I think he's going to be big like his dad.
And he's kicking and punching, and doing all, now we can actually see it, from the outside, his kicks or whatever it is he's doing. He could be rolling around. I don't know.
And is there anything special you guys like to do to bond with your baby?
Oh, I talk to him a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Michael
tell
comes
him
and
lots of
rubs my
sweet
belly,
things.
talks to him. We make videos for him once in a while.
I'll tell you this. I have a nickname for him. He's called my little jumpy boy, because when we watched the ultrasound, I guess it was the physician. I'm not sure. Maybe there was a tech or something. She was doing getting the sonogram picture, and all of a sudden he kind of sprung she goes, oh, he jumped. So I've already been calling him my little jumpy boy, and I spend time talking to him and letting him know that I care about him and can't wait to see him.
I do want to mention that I feel like when people get hung up on the law and say, okay, in Utah it's illegal, in Colorado it's legal, this is binary thinking. And as humans, we're capable of much broader thinking where we can take not just ones and zeros like a computer or a robot, but we can take in greater range of information and synthesize that and say, okay, what's really going on here? We've got a family, a healthy baby. We can look past, okay, that's against the law. No, there's more to the story, and you can be human and not shut down with, it's against the law. That's what I'm